Today is September 1st, 2021, and we're going to be looking at my banlist predictions for the October 2021 format. Now, I don't have a specific date of when it's going to be released because Konami has been changing so many product releases, and I was hoping it was going to be October 1st as a lovely date because the Megatins lined up just perfectly along with the Cyber-style structure deck. But it is also my birthday today. So let's get right into it. I have 3 cards forbidden along with 8 cards limited with also 5 cards unlimited. Let's go right into it. First off, we have Eva tied with Ben 10. These 2 cards are always tied together. When you look at it, Eva is a generation of up to 2 negates depending on how you look at it. You can discard it off of Perfection or Ultimateness, or you can even send it to the graveyard with Beatrice if you end on that. And you can banish 2 other light fairies in your graveyard or field and add the same number of level 2 or lower light fairies. You're most likely grabbing a Diviner of the Herald and a Herald of the Orange Light. Then on top of that, you can just keep sending the cards to the graveyard for negations. And you can get up to at least 4 negates just with Eva alone if you have another fairy there alongside of it, which is very powerful in a deck like Drytron. And with Cyber Engine Button 10, it is one of the prominent tribute fodder, unlimited tribute fodder that the deck has, and getting rid of this pretty much cuts out nearly all of the fairy cards from Drytron where they have to go more towards a actual Drytron build with things like Diviner of the Herald, getting their Medionis Drytron, or other cards that will help get that strategy. Overall, these 2 I definitely could see getting hit because the reason they are just so hand in hand together. And with that, let's move on to the final forbidden card, and that is Imperial Order. Imperial Order is one of the more prominent cards that we've seen through the extravaganzas. When we look at it, a lot of the Tri-Brigade decks are playing it. Even a lot of other decks are siding it under the one fact that it shuts off the whole entire game depending on what deck you're going against. If it's a Drytron versus Tri-Brigade match, you're going to lose to an Imperial Order if you don't summon out your Nightmare Phoenix, because that's how detrimental the card is. The errata of the card I still hate because it still does the exact same thing, but they made it not optional in every standby phase. You had to pay. It was better when it was only during your standby phase and optional, but this card still plagues the format even till today. This is one of the cards that I definitely see getting rebanned again because of how powerful it is. Next up, we're going to be going into the limited section, and we're going to be going into things like Orchest Harp Horror. I really miss my buddy. Orchest Harp Horror is one of the final cards that they had to bring back to make the Eternal format kind of come back, because we have things like Engage back and Stalio back, but we're still missing Harp, Electromite, and Colossus, which I don't think those last 2 should come back. But Orchest Harp Horror is one of those cards that's kind of like Mirage Stalio, where it locks you into the dark by summoning something out from the deck. It locks you out into a certain attribute, summoning from the deck, so you can only facilitate those plays. Sure, this will make some of the engines splashable again, but you're gonna only have the 1 harp to work around compared to how it was before with the 3, which is very heavy on one side and the other. Overall, Orchest hasn't been really doing much in the past 2 years. Almost 2 years since Harp was banned. Only with a couple tops here and there. Mech Knight Orchest took a top, but that's Mech Knight Orchest, not actually full-on pure Orchest. And this will definitely help out the strategy more as they start peeling stuff off from 2019 slower and slower. Next up, we have Jetsyncron. Jetsyncron is one of the more interesting cards I have on here. When you look at it, people already complained because I posted this in a couple Discord servers. Jetsyncron to 1, you're only going to have 4 copies. What are you going to summon into it? You have Hulk, you don't have many things. You have Hulk. Okay, I'm going to summon out Effect Veiler. Celine, access code. Deck's ready to do that, but better. It helps out the new Majestic archetype that just got support. So that is my reasoning. It helps out a deck that needs more cards and a couple more extenders here and there. People complain that Jetsyncron is powerful. Majestic already runs 3 tuning, so please just give them a bone. You're not going to be whopping out 3 negates because of 1 card. 2 negates and a VFD because, well, Link Cross is banned, VFD is banned, O-Lion's still banned. You really don't have that much power after that. And next up for the limits, we have Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew. This is one of the only cards I could really think of when limiting out and hitting Prank Kids. This is really the only card because it's a substitution and it starts your whole entire play. I played Prank Kids against my friends, and this is the one card that I really think that should go down to 1. If it goes more to 0, yeah, that's a little too harsh, but putting it down to 1 is a start. And this was really the card that rocketed the deck into where it is now. I don't really have much to say on it because I really don't play Prank Kids all that much, but I play it here and there. And this is really the only card that I definitely think that should really be limited. After that, we have Nadir Servant. Megatins. They're going to sell the Megatins for a couple weeks. Then they're going to hit cards from it. I think Disciples or Nadir Servant is going to be one of them outside of a couple other cards here and there that really won't get a rarity bump, more downgrades, because this is a downgrade compared to its original and other cards as well. But this is one card that people have said that should go down to 1 because it's a plus. You can send things like Elder Entity Natis, you can send many other things like Titanic Light, and you get multiple cards off of it. The Dogmatic package is more for a lot of 1-for-1s, which is quite nice, but if you pair it with other cards like Herald of the Arclight or Natis, it's more of a 2-for-1, which is very powerful, or a 1-for-2, which is super powerful these days in the type of format that we're in. But enough of the Dogmatica and Invoke Shadal hits, because that's my really only one on this list, which is pretty weird considering that last list I had a couple hits to them. Because the next 2 or 3 hits are going to go to, believe it or not, Tri-Brigade. First off, we have Fire Formation Tenki. This card should have went back down to 1 last list, but Konami messed up. Tri-Brigade Zodiac has over 70 tops this format alone, and the other decks have less than 40. And that's a big gap. If you have a deck that's at 70 plus tops and the other decks are at 30, you know the problem deck right there. This is one of my hits next to Tri-Brigade Revolt. Tri-Brigade Revolt is also one of the cards that I feel like will get limited because it's such a powerful card. Whenever I activate it, because I mainly play Tri-Brigade, I just feel disgusting and just disgusted at activating it because I summon out 3 to 4, summon out Omen, banish a card, get all my effects of Foolish, Search, Draw. And it's so powerful of a card. It's a soul charge on legs that gets you so many more things that you need. So I normally summon like a Bear Brum along with the Nerval and a Kit, so I get a Foolish, 2 searches, and place 1 back. That's pretty strong. But I definitely see Tri-Brigade Revolt getting limited. After that, Divine Arsenal Zeus. Divine Arsenal Zeus is one of those cards that I wanted to ban for a while, but it hurts the tin sales. And overall, this is the one that is that diverse piece where if you move it correctly, it affects a lot. Right now, you have so many decks playing it. Exorcisters are going to be playing at least 2 of this, so might as well hit it down to 1 when you can, and have where it becomes a power 1 of. Then you can ban it later after. So there's that. It's a board wipe that's not hard once per turn or per chain for some godforsaken reason, but I see Zeus getting the axe one way or another to Limited Town or to Forbidden Zone. After that, we have finally returning wind-up carrier Zen Matey. Zen Matey is one of those cards that is just lost in its own little path that putting it to one won't do anything. No one is going to play wind-up hand loop because that is so inconsistent and so bricky that you have to open the perfect 4 or 5 cards in your hand. So that's one thing you do have to worry about. Overall, these have been my limited sections. Tell me what you guys think, and let's get into the unlimited section because I had a semi section, but I took that away because the cards on there can just go to 3. And all the cards are Double Iris Magician, which we all know that this is going to go to 3. Then we also have Performer Pal, Skull Acrobat Joker, Infernity Archfiend, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and Daigusto Emerald. So let's go down the line. Iris Magician does nothing. Skull Acrobat Joker, Worst Stratos. Infernity Archfiend, throw them a bone. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Errata only runs 1 to 0. Throw them a bone. And finally, Daigusto Emerald. Who loops it nowadays with double Emerald? I'm gonna leave it at that with those. But Double Iris Magician is one of the powerful cards that was limited and forbidden, I believe, because of what it did. It got you a pendulum graph, and it's not a once per turn on that. But putting it to 3 really does nothing because pendulums don't do anything. That's why I put Skull Acrobat as well to 3, because it's not going to do anything. Who's going to really run pendulums outside of Triff in 2021? Then Infernity Archfiend. Infernities just don't do anything anymore. They're clunky, they're bricky, they can't really do much outside of their own little loop that they have, but that loop doesn't really do anything anymore because a lot of the cards, they've been errataed, which is crazy when you look at it. Dwarlin, there was an Infernity deck that ran Doloran because that looped. Brio looped. Trish is at 1. You're not really going to do much. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon has an errata on top of another errata being hard once per turn and hard once per turn for the summon effect. And this is still at 3. Why, Konami? You banned LP. This can just come back. And finally, Daigusto Emerald. No one really is going to commit the 2 slots for it. Tri-Brigade Zodiac, they won't. Pure Zodiac definitely won't. But it helps out things like Exorcister if you want to, but I definitely don't see that happening. Because this is the same thing as Pot of Avarice. Target 3 monsters in your graveyard. Shuffle all into the deck. You need to shuffle all 3 into the deck, and people are running things like Ghost Bells, Skullmeister, DD Crow, and it's just a hard count. Gets hard countered. You can even ash the card and it just dies. That's where that combo just ends if you're trying to play that. But this has been my prediction list. I hope you guys did enjoy. But anyways, see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.